and welcome to Node TV. As you'll see from our lovely logo, this is the Node HQ. My name is Neil and I'm Head of Operations here. Node is a digital risk specialist based in London, and we're super excited about launching what we think is the first vlog focusing specifically on digital risk and technology related insurance solutions. Now, for a lot of you might think it's very dull, but I'm hopeful that for the few of you that do want to watch this, that we can bring you some value through going and looking at things in more detail. One of the reasons that we were super keen to do a vlog is we think that there is a lot of noise and text and blogs, and I think it's very difficult in the modern world probably to get through and read all the things that are out at the minute. I think it's fairly fitting that perhaps this might just be another layer that you guys might find of more value. The blog itself doesn't really have a format. It's super laid back. We're going to keep it super casual. If it was directed at anyone or for anyone to get the most value out of it, most likely would be somewhere along the lines of brokers, whether that retail or wholesale, underwriters, people looking to move into the space, cybersecurity vendors, lawyers, anyone that deals with or connects with or wants to know more about digital risk or cyber insurance or technology, E&O as it's more commonly referred to. Hopefully this will be a good channel for that. I think we're probably going to do about one video a week. I would imagine that probably feels about right at the moment, with no real end date in mind. So if people start to enjoy the channel and start to see worth in what we're doing, we'd love to have a bit of a community. So any sort of questions, comments, or things that you would like us to focus on, or questions that you'd like us to answer, you can always drop us an email. I'll drop my email address in the below in the body of the description to do with the video. And I'm really excited about hopefully bringing you guys some real value and running through some topics that we're seeing internally. I think that with the speed and not only the speed of change in and around risk, but also the speed in what is insurable, what claims are coming into the market, how things are progressing. Hopefully this will be a really useful way for you to digest some of that information. So I think today we're probably going to move into just a quick short topic of something that I think isn't fully understood at the moment, and that's to do with risk profiling. So without further ado, I'd like to move into the first topic. All right, everyone, thank you for sticking with it and not leaving the channel or the episode. So the first thing I want to talk about is profiling. It's something that I've been working in and around or with for probably I've been involved with cyber insurance at different levels of the chain for getting on for about 5 years now. And I think in the very early stages, when I was more on the retail side, it was something that always was problematic. So taking what the product insures or what can be insured to what the actual insured does, and kind of communicating how those two intertwine. And I think definitely that by maybe approaching profiling of a digital risk solution differently with the consumer, that hopefully they will resonate with it a little bit better, and hopefully the upshot will be that the sale or the interaction between you and them will be better. So I think if I was to take it back to kind of its early stages, how I envision profiling, and then I think that'll help us move along a kind of the thought that I have in and around how maybe perhaps you could consider using or speaking with your potential client about their need for a cyber insurance policy. So really, if we were to go back roughly, I know these data are a bit rough, but really about 15 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, not many businesses use technology. Now there will be obviously exclusions, but on the whole, the way that most businesses communicated, function on a day-to-day basis in a generalized fashion was non-digital. So really that was the case where there was no need for a cyber policy and there was no real technology interaction with the businesses. And then technology started to come in, so people took, if you remember, very, very large computers. They were very, very expensive. They weren't really intertwined as a network outside of the business, and they would allow people within the business to talk to each other and do things quicker. Fantastic, a great move forward. And then we would come forward where businesses, not only specialised businesses but also generalised businesses, were starting to take on technology. It was also technology was becoming cheaper, it was becoming simpler, more places were selling it, it was becoming ultimately better and more accessible for the day-to-day business owner. Moving that forward then meant that at that stage they went from having no real digital risk. They would have a technology risk, but it was very limited because they were not connected. It was very singular in their network. But secondly, or sort of thirdly, where the real risk started to arise was when they connected to the internet. So what that meant was that by businesses now using email, utilising the internet, utilising everything that we do today, I think that the risk has changed massively. But when it comes to profiling, when I think about the stages of profiling, perhaps you want to consider that this is kind of the flow in the way I see it of how the digital sort of revolution really came about from a business standpoint with businesses that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, whether that's an accountants, an estate agents, and anyone and everyone really that operates in a day-to-day business now does that in a connected way. If you like, they went from sort of a non-digital business to digitally enabled. And I think with that process now has brought about the real birth and the real drive behind all things cyber insurance related. So we're now challenged with looking at the way that businesses use, utilize and benefit from the digital revolution, but also how they manage the threats that come out of that. And the other complexity of this is that the threats are always changing. So not only are the way that people innovate and use and manage technologies, but also the way that the legal system, the notification system and the general legal platform is that surrounds businesses that they have to adhere by and be aware of. So I think that with it does create a very large landscape. And of course, you know, for you guys watching this is very unique to where you are and the businesses that you serve. Our legal system, our infrastructure in the UK and within Europe is completely different to the United States, and the way that businesses have to adhere to and manage and respond to their sort of jurisdiction. But I don't really want to move into that. I want to keep this quite high level. So it's more talking generally about the digital risk profile of the business, not necessarily the territory or the regulatory or frameworks that they or you have to speak with them about. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is that at the moment most people that I speak with or I deal with are trying to approach cyber from a threat basis, which means that their approach when it comes to meet with insured or discuss with an insured what the options are around cyber insurance, they tend to approach it from a threat basis, which means they start to use words like, well, what if you were hacked? What if you were susceptible to a phishing attack? What if social engineering was to come into your organisation? And what about if you were exposed to some ID theft? What about if something were to happen and you were responsible or you were held responsible or deemed responsible by a third regulatory body? How would your business respond to that? And I think in my experience, what tends to happen in and around these conversations are that very quickly people feel that they don't have an exposure, therefore the product doesn't really sit with their sweet spot. That yeah, it's a nice to have, but unfortunately they don't feel that, for example, unless they have a huge reliance on selling online, they don't feel that they have a very prevalent risk of being hacked, or so far they've ran clear of a phishing attack or a social engineering attack. And I think for the retail brokers out there, what would be a different approach, maybe a new approach for you, is to, one, assist you in better understanding what their risk profile looks like, and maybe start thinking more about their business activities and letting the person that you deal with, whether it's the underwriter, whether it's the specialist broker, whoever sits with you in that chain, we'd love to speak with you about how or what risks are attached to that business activity. So instead of talking to your insured about the chances they might be hacked or the initial chances of a phishing attack or all these cyber threats, why not try talking about their business activity? Because I think that is far easier for them to relate to and see value in. So just taking some very highlights now, that if you were to go to your portfolio or some accounts that you hold, I would imagine that if you would say to them, what would happen if you were hacked? Some of them would respond that it would be massive detriment to the business. Some of them might think that actually, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. However, what about if you were to talk about their business activity more? So what about if you were to draw up a list and outline, well, do you do online banking? Well, yes. Do you have email? Well, yes. Do you have third-party vendors? Every SME business really nowadays uses a third-party vendor, whether that's for email hosting, data storage, outsourcing of numbers for employment, banking, anything of that nature that every 99% of businesses have. And I just think that by speaking to them more about their business activity and then understanding what risks are attached to the different activities, and then going back with an insurance solution that covers them for the risks that arise out of their business activity in a kind of tick box, is going to have you, or hopefully give you more success and provide you with the tools to give them a better solution. So, you know, I'd love you to give it a whirl. If I've not been clear enough, or you've got any questions, happy to drop me a line or drop me a note, and I'll try and add some more value around it. But yeah, give it a go, and there's comments below. Maybe if you think this is of any use, let me know. If you don't, also let me know. I'm sure you will. And any other questions, just let us know in the feedback below. All right, thank you. Thanks everyone for watching the first episode of Node TV. Hopefully this is just the start of some sort of interesting content you're going to get real value from. It's quite hard for me to deliver it. It's the first time I've ever really stood in front of a camera, and it's not easy. And also, you know, we get that we're probably doing 100 or 200 things wrong, but we promise that we will get better. We'll keep trying to get better content for you. We'd love if you leave any feedback below. We'll try and either take it on board or interact with you in some way. Drop me an email. You know, we'd love to hear from you. And also, if you think this is of any value, share it with your friends or colleagues, or if you would like us to answer any questions that you have, leave it in the feedback below. It's now kind of the middle of December, coming into the close of 2016. It's been a very big year for Node and myself personally, and I think a lot of people connected with the Node business. I think we've got great momentum going into the new year, and we look forward to seeing you every week and bringing you as much value as we possibly can. So happy holidays, and we'll see you in the next episode of Node TV.